sending a message, going for it this close to his own end zone. Timeout is called, and it's the defense wanting to make sure that everyone's on the same page for this big down. Well, this head coach is clearly sending a message. Not sure what it is, but he's going for it close to his own end zone. Throws to the wideout. And the incomplete pass turns it over in their own end.
And I tell you what, I can justify when it's really short, but when it's fourth and medium on your side of the territory, man, that success rate continues to plummet down, and now they've just set this offense up in really good position.
He stopped at the 14-yard line, and they'll stay on the attack from there. Going to work on second down in the red zone, and still some ground to cover to pick up that first down. Back to pass. Can't make the grab. Quarterback just missed him a little bit. Timeout called by the offense, and now they just have... remaining in the half. After the second down misfire, looking at a 3rd and 8. Might be calling a hot route. Looking to throw, it's Dotson. Now he's going to break the pocket. Into the end zone. Oh, and he dropped it. He had a touchdown right in his hands and couldn't hang on. It'll be 4th down.
On that 3rd down, they took a shot in the end zone, just couldn't connect. QB and receiver not on the same page, and now it's decision time if you're the head coach on 4th.
Here comes the field goal. Oh, they fake it, and the kicker's looking to pass. Bought a little time, lets it go. And they get it done. Boy, you look smart when it works out, but when it goes awry, you are left to second-guess yourself. They'll snap it from the 10 for the first play of this drive. They'll start this drive going to the air. Makes the catch. It's Washington.
Guys out of the backfield now, it's not just run the ball downhill anymore. You got to be versatile. I got to be able to trust you in the pass game, and I got to be able to throw you the football, and you can do that right there. I know you're going to catch it, and I can depend on it.
Unloads to the wideout. Complete to the left. Able to work it to the 39-yard line, and that'll be a first down. We'll take a quick break as we have reached the final 2 minutes of the first half. Finally, this offense starting to show a little juice. They've got a 1st and 10. Wants to throw on 1st down. Steps away. Got it behind the line. It's Washington. It's a running room. And tackled there by the defense. Clock's running, and they'll try to get to the line. Warp speed for 2nd down. To keep it in the air. Caught in the backfield. It's Washington. He'll be stopped at the 44, knocked out of bounds there.
Well, you've seen the last 2 plays now. This guy's versatility. You've seen why he might be playing on Sundays in the not-too-distant future. This guy can catch the ball. He's a big part of their passing game, and he's a weapon, and a guy this defense has got to be ready for.
Scanning the field. It's Green. Got a man. It's Washington. On the move at the 30. Couldn't quite get it into the end zone. He goes out of bounds at the 3, but they are in business.
It's a scoreless game, but it feels like after that completion, that may finally break. It's been tough sledding for both of these offenses.
Looking for the end zone. And he takes it in for the score. Touchdown, Razorbacks. Well, Well, they started with horrible field position, but ended with perfect field position in the middle of the end zone.
It all comes down to execution, Reese. You've got to have guys going out and doing their jobs. You saw the offensive line up front. They were physical. Skilled players made it happen with the ball in their hands, and the quarterback really showed command on that last drive.
They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. From inside his own 15, looking for a crevice. He was hoping for something a little more dynamic, but they get him on the ground at the 20. A lot of field in front of them as they open this possession from their own 20. Looking downfield on first down. And the pass rush is effective, and they tackle him at the 19. The Hawkeyes headed quickly to the line. On the move. Good vision and determination there to find his way up to the 23. They've got to come up with a big play on this 3rd and long. From the gun, wants to pass. Spits it out to the back. Tight coverage and an incomplete pass. The defense knocks it away and forces a 4th down. Up-tempo for the offense. Quarterback may change this route. On 4th down, he'll try to toss it. He hurls one deep down the left side. Oh, he had it. The deep ball was there, and it just trickled through his fingers. They thought they had a good plan, but it did not work. They'll get a chance to work on that hurry-up offense here in the final minute of the first half. Gets the back moving. Looking to throw, it's Green. Can't find his man as he took a shot trying to deliver that football, and it'll be 2nd down.
Man, it's easy to play defense when you can do this. When you can get to the quarterback quick and make him make a decision quick, it makes it easier for the secondary, for the linebackers, for everybody on the field.
And that one falls incomplete, trying to get a chunk play on that one.
And how loud is it in this building? This is crazy. These fans are going absolutely nuts. And I used to love when the fans got involved and I'm on defense because it messes with the snap count. It messes with the communication. And it
fires toward the end zone. He's missed 3 in a row now with that last incompletion.
This is a disappointing drive for the offense, considering where this drive started, in their opponent territory. Now you're 4th and long. You've got to be better throwing the football in those types of situations.
They'll send out the kicker here. This whole place going to see if this kicker can operate in a sea of noise. No good. And the margin is still 7 after the miss, guys.
Man, sometimes I just feel like 4th down, man. Just go for it every time. Like the field goal miss, make rate. And listen, kickers have improved the last couple of years, but you left some points off the scoreboard there.
Out of the gun, the inside handoff to the running back. Able to scrounge 3 yards out of that one somehow. It's 2nd and 7.
And what's the closest guy to the football, man? It's those defensive tackles, and those guards and centers have to work together. They got to get those guys and get some movement. They don't on this play, and the big fella eats. Nowhere to go. When you run into him, you usually meet the ground.
And the runner is down, and so is a flag. So that penalty is going to cost them the 1st down as they back up, and now it's 2nd down. They're lined up and ready to kick off this 2nd half. A rather inauspicious start with the kickoff out of bounds and great field position for this offense. It's a 1st and 10. The give on the inside. And the defense holds firm. No pickup at all on that play. Didn't get much done on that first play of the drive. It's 2nd and 11. Wants to throw. It's Dotson. It's complete on the right side. Stopped after a good pickup, and he'll be just a tad short of the first down. And the Hawkeyes come to the line in the hurry-up. They'll try to run for it. And there were some collisions in there, and the D finally stops him short of the marker.
And I think this has probably been the most surprising thing of this game so far. This guy's one of the best running backs in the entire country. They just can't get him going. He's never been able to get into a rhythm. You got to give the defense so much credit because they have been able to shut this guy down, and they got to keep that up here in the second half.
On 4th down, they're taking to the air. He'll try to do it himself. He's not going to get there. Stopped short on 4th down. First play of the drive, wants to throw. He's going to let one fly down the middle. Got it. He gets it in. Touchdown, Arkansas.
And you're seeing the aggressiveness by the offensive coordinator on the first play of the second half. They take a shot and score a touchdown. You know they talked about this all halftime. They were just waiting for this opportunity. They knew coming out they were going to get the look they got defensively and take advantage of it, and it comes up big with a touchdown.
They'll try to add another to their lead. And the extra point makes it 14-0. That drive not too taxing on the playbook. One play, put it in the end zone just like that. And he's going to bring this one out. No idea what he could have been thinking to try to return that one, and they stop him at the 7. First order of business, get out of this hole as the drive starts at their own 7-yard line. They'll go to the ground. Gets it across the 10, a pickup of 5, and out of trouble to the 12.
Another tough run for this offense, and I think a big reason why they're down on the scoreboard right now is they just haven't been able to get this guy going. They've tried to give him the ball a lot. It just hasn't paid off, but you get the feeling, too, if they are going to crawl back in this one, they need him to break one off, and it just takes one play for this guy. Don't be impatient. You got to keep giving him the football.
He's brought down, but it'll be enough for a first down. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Looking downfield, it's Dotson. Steps away to find some room. Just couldn't find an open man. He'll get rid of it, and it'll be second down.
Know the situation, know the game of football, right? When I start to get outside the pocket, I don't see anything there, I can throw the ball away. I don't have to take a sack, get a lost yardage play. I can just throw the ball out of bounds as long as it passes the line of scrimmage. We go on to the next down. No harm, no foul.
Got it across the 20 and out to the 23, a pickup of 4.
It's a nice game, but the big theme here is they just haven't been able to get the run game going on offense. They've been very one-dimensional. They're just not being physical enough at the point of attack.
Here's the snap, ready to cut one loose. And he was hit just as he was releasing the pass, and it falls to the ground incomplete.
I don't care how talented you are as a quarterback, but your accuracy always goes down when you get hit. Nice job by the QB scrambling, working to his right, but he wasn't completing that pass with that pressure.
Kick is in the air. Now a fair catch is called for and made just shy of midfield. See if they can turn this drive into points. They've got it 1st and 10 at the 50. Looking to throw on first down. Got the quick pass. And he'll step out of bounds after a very productive play.
Well, when you're throwing these out routes, guys, it's location, location, location. As a QB, you've got to put that out in front of your guy so he can make the catch. You put that behind him, that might be getting picked. Nice job there by the QB.
Out to 35, he's open. They bring him down. He's got a first down, but that might be the final play of the third quarter. They go back to work in the final period of this one. Looking downfield, it's Green. And his throw is incomplete. So now it's second and long. Defense not showing press coverage. And back to the air on second down. He put it out there for him, and the senior gave him a chance, but they couldn't make the connection.
And I think out routes are solely about timing, because that wide receiver is going to get to a point and break it off straight to the sidelines, and you can just tell he put too much mustard on it and just led him a little bit too far.
Third and long, and he'll try to throw for it. He's got his man, makes the grab. Gets out of bounds after the big play, and they'll be set up in business with a first and goal. Boy, the defense really needed to get off the field there, and they just couldn't do it, and it's a fresh set of downs.
Man, that hurts. When you're trailing late in the ball game, you need those stops, and you get them to third down. You get them to those critical points. Now they get the first down. You don't have many left. You better get aggressive.
And that's really nice offensively because you're in the red zone. You do have an opportunity to add to your lead here, but you're staying in bounds. I think the clock right now is the most important thing. How can we keep this thing ticking away? By going down in bounds, you're doing exactly that.
Defense becomes even more heightened in this area of the field. You get the short yard situations, the goal to go situations. They've got to be dialed in. That's two big stops in a row by this defense. Forcing a third and goal, putting some pressure now on this offense.
Looking for the touchdown on third and goal. And the Heat will get home, and the quarterback goes down at the 17.
Listen, I love when my quarterback gets outside the pocket. I got an opportunity to make a huge play. But when it's not there, now I want him to make a simple play. Throw it away. Don't take the sack. Don't take the loss of yards plays.
Never a doubt. And now the lead is even bigger.
And with that kick, man, it's a tall order for the other side. I mean, down 3 possessions. Like, this offense is going to have to get the ball and do something with it, and do it quickly if they want to get back in this football game.
He'll bring it out. It's Parker. Rolling the dice to bring it out of the end zone did not work out as he stopped at the 13. They'll try to put something together, backed up a bit, starting at their own 13. Dropping back, it's Dotson. Pocket breaking down. And he was hit just as he released it, and it falls to the turf.
And that's just the kind of game it's been for this quarterback in this offense. You got a great game plan all week long. You're watching it throughout practice. You think you're going to have a chance to light up the scoreboard, but they're just not able to hook up. You got to give this defense a ton of credit. They've done a great job in coverage. They've been breaking on passes.
He tosses one high and deep down the left side. And they can't hook up. Going for the big play on second down. Now it's third down.
And it's just been that kind of day for this quarterback in this offense, guys. They have never been able to get into a rhythm throwing the football. Timing's been off. Accuracy hasn't been great. We've seen some drops. Just not in sync, and that's why they find themselves trailing by a lot right here late in the game.
Fires on the move. It's caught downfield. Doesn't quite make it to the first down marker. He's a yard short. Down by multiple possessions. You can't come up empty on this drive. They'll go for it on fourth down. Bringing the heat. It's incomplete. A fourth down stop and the turnover on downs.
And I get it. That's for pride's sake. This game's over. Like, I know you're down and you try to mount drives, and sometimes you even try to get young guys in the game at this point. But now,
touchdown Razorbacks! And the pummeling has started.
And this offense continuing to put up points. This game's out of reach. You know you're going to win, but still throwing the football, still finding that connection. I imagine there'll be some salty handshakes at the end of this game.
And the extra point will tack another one onto this lead. That's exactly what you want to do when you have that type of field position. Strike quickly, and they did. One play, and they put it on the board. And he's not going to take the touchback. This drive will start from the 19-yard line. Looking for a gap. It's Moulton. Not much running room there thanks to this senior defender.
You got to give this defense credit because they have bottled this guy up all game long. He's one of the best running backs in all of college football. Everybody was expecting him to have a big one today. Don't tell that to this defense, though. They've played with great effort. They've gotten halves to the football, and they have been able to shut him down.
He's across the 30 and out of bounds at the 31-yard line. And they'll line up from the 31 on first down. They'll give it on the counter. And maybe he'll get back to the line of scrimmage, but no more than that.
How about the job by this defense today? They knew what they were getting into. A really good running back. We talked to him this week. It was the main focus point of this offense, stopping the run game, stopping the run game. Boy, have they showed up and showed out and answered that challenge.
On the move, he fires. And he was flat, missed him. Sometimes you see a guy, he's open, and you try to baby it too much, and it was a bad throw. It'll take some work to get to the sticks. It's 3rd and long from the 30. Back to throw, it's Dotson. Quarterback now on the run, still looking. The pass falls incomplete, and there are 8 seconds left.
And this defense has put a game together. Like, it is hard to put all the facets of defense together. Run defense, pass defense. They've been so good, man. Dialed in. You could tell they were ready. They were fast. They were physical. They dominated this football game today.
On 4th down, looking for the completion. He's going up top here late in the game. Hauls it in easily enough for the first down. And they fight him to the bitter end, all the way down to putting some more numbers in the stat column, but they'll come up a little short as time expires. Well, they say you win a few, you lose a few, and some get rained out. Would have been good for this team if this one had gotten rained out because they lost badly.
Yeah, not a lot to be too proud about in this one here. Good news is you get to go back to the drawing board. You get to go back, you get to have another week of practice as a coaching staff, try and find ways to get players in position to go out and make plays. Going to need a big locker room speech after this one, David.
Yeah, and you're going to watch this tape, and it's going to hurt because you're going to watch it with the coaches, and you're going to see the mess-ups and all the things you could have done better, but you got to learn from it. You got to get better. You got to grow, and that's how that works.
That's going to do it from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis, and you've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.